Welcome to MSRO Classroom. This session focuses on the poem A Photograph by Shirley Toulson. The poem describes an old photograph of the poet's mother as a young girl at the beach with her cousins. The image captures a joyful moment from the past, while the sea remains unchanged. Years later, the poet's mother looks at the photograph and remembers her childhood with laughter and nostalgia. After her mother's death, the poet reflects on the passage of time and the pain of loss. The poem highlights the contrast between the transience of human life and the permanence of nature. It concludes by illustrating that profound grief often defies verbal expression, resulting in silence. Let's begin with the line-by-line explanation of the poem. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she the big girl, some 12 years or so. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. The poet examines an old photograph mounted on cardboard, which reveals a moment from the past. The photograph shows two young cousins playing in shallow sea water. Each cousin is holding one of the poet's mother's hands, showing great affection and support. The poet's mother was the oldest among them, about 12 years old at that time. The girls paused and posed for the photograph, smiling despite the sea breeze that may have tousled their hair. Their uncle took the photograph. The poet observes her mother's innocent, pleasant expression from a time before the poet's own existence. The sea seems almost unchanged over time, unlike humans who grow and age. The sea touched their feet, described as transient or temporary, emphasizing the brevity or shortness and fragility of human life. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. "See Betty and Dolly," she would say, "and look how they dressed us for the beach." The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter, both wry with the labored ease of loss. Many years have passed since the photograph was taken. The poet's mother would look at the photograph and laugh fondly. She points out her cousins, Betty and Dolly, in the picture. She comments humorously on their attire, suggesting a sense of nostalgia. For the mother, the beach trip is a memory. For the poet, the memory is a mother's laughter from that trip. Both memories convey a sense of sadness. The term wry indicates a blend of amusement and pain, while labored ease demonstrates that coping with loss is complex. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. The poet's mother has now been dead for almost the same number of years she had lived as a child. The poet finds words inadequate to express her grief. The pain of loss is so profound that it results in complete silence, an emotional state in which expression becomes impossible. Let's move to the analysis of the poem. First, tone. The tone of the poem is primarily reflective and nostalgic, as the poet recalls a past moment captured in a photograph. A gentle sense of longing and melancholy pervades the poem, particularly in the way memories are revisited. However, the tone evolves across the stanzas. The first stanza is observational and descriptive. In the second stanza, the tone becomes warm and nostalgic, incorporating a hint of bittersweet humor. In the final stanza, the tone shifts to somber, detached, and resigned, reflecting the poet's acceptance of loss and death. The conclusion introduces a powerful sense of emotional silence, in which grief becomes too profound for words. Second, form of the poem. The poem is personal and subjective, focusing on the poet's emotions and memories. It is also meditative, as it reflects on broader themes like time, memory, and mortality. The poem is written in free verse, meaning it does not follow a fixed rhyme scheme or regular meter. Instead, the poem relies on natural rhythm and pauses to convey emotional depth. Third, structure. The poem consists of 3 stanzas of unequal length, which is an important artistic choice. Stanza 1 describes the photograph. Stanza 2 shows the mother remembering the photograph. Stanza 3 focuses on the present reality of loss. In the poem, there is a clear temporal progression: past, recollected past, and then present loss. This structured movement deepens the poem's emotional impact. Next point is symbolism. First, the photograph. The photograph symbolizes memory and the past, preserving a moment that no longer exists. It represents time suspended, in contrast to the continuous passage of life. It also highlights the transience of human life as the individuals in the image grow, change, and eventually die, while the photograph remains unchanged. Second, the sea. The sea symbolizes eternity and continuity. Unlike human life, the sea appears unchanged over time, representing permanence. This contrasts with human beings whose lives are temporary and fragile. Third, silence. Silence symbolizes the finality of death and the absence left behind. Silence reflects the poet's inability to articulate profound grief. The phrase, "its silent silences," suggests that loss is so deep it overpowers language itself. Next point is theme. First, theme of transience. The central theme of the poem is the transience of human life and memory. The photograph captures a moment from the past, but the people in it have aged, changed, or passed away. The phrase, "terribly transient feat," emphasizes how short-lived and fragile human life is. In contrast, the sea appears almost unchanged, highlighting the difference between the permanence of nature and the transience of human existence. Second, nostalgia and loss. The poem conveys nostalgia as the poet's mother fondly recalls her childhood through the photograph. Her laughter demonstrates warmth and affection for the past, yet it is not entirely joyful. This nostalgia is tinged with sadness, as the past cannot return. The phrase, "labored ease of loss," suggests that coping with loss may appear natural over time, yet it continues to involve emotional effort and concealed pain. The mother's death deepens this sense of loss, creating a lasting emotional absence. Third, silence and ineffability. The final stanza presents the theme of death and the limits of language. The poet perceives that nothing adequate can be said about her mother's death. It conveys a sense of acceptance and emotional depth. The line, "its silent silences," means that grief is so powerful that it cannot be expressed in words. The poem suggests that certain experiences, particularly loss and death, transcend human expression. Now, an important question. What has not changed over the years in the poem? The element that has not changed is the sea. It shows that while human beings age and die, the sea remains almost constant. It symbolizes eternity and continuity, contrasting with the temporary nature of human life. What are the 3 different phases depicted in the 3 stanzas? The first stanza describes the photograph taken in childhood. It shows the poet's mother and her cousins at the beach. It captures a moment frozen in time, highlighting life's transience. In the second stanza, the mother looks at the photograph 20 to 30 years later. She recalls the past with laughter and nostalgia. The poet's memory is now linked to her mother's recollection rather than to the actual event. It shows how the past survives through memory but with a sense of loss. In the third stanza, the mother is now dead, and the poet reflects on this loss. It emphasizes the finality of death and the passage of time. The line, "Its silence silences," shows that grief is beyond expression. To summarize, in a photograph, the poet explores themes of time, memory, and loss through a photograph. The poem unfolds in 3 stages: the captured past, the mother's nostalgia, and the poet's present experience of loss, highlighting how time reshapes life. A key contrast exists between the fleeting nature of human life and the sea's enduring permanence, symbolizing continuity. The poem transitions from gentle nostalgia to acceptance of death, culminating in silence. Ultimately, the poem conveys that while memories preserve moments, they cannot hold the passage of time or alleviate grief, which often transcends language and reflects the profound weight of human existence. We have finished explaining the Class 11 poem, A Photograph by Shirley Toulson. For more in-depth study, visit our reference website, MSROCLASSROOM.com, for exam-oriented summaries, literary devices, extra questions, themes, character sketches, and extract-based questions for Class 11. In the next session, we'll analyze the chapter, We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together. If you enjoyed the content, ask questions, subscribe, like, and share the video. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Bye-bye.